Today, I would like to give you some more examples of narcissistic red flags that happen, and I'll give you some examples from the several narcs that I knew. I think it's important to pick up on these red flags from day one, and the reason I want to point these things out is because I think if we can teach people these subtle things that they do, they can pick up on it faster and get out of there, because a lot of times these things are overlooked. So the first narc that I met, he started going on and on about his teeth. And like, this is when I barely knew this person. We hadn't met in person yet. And he's just going on, and I'm just like, wow, this guy is just weird. And like, at the time, I was like, oh, maybe he's just quirky and he hasn't talked to a female in a while. It's funny how we write these things off, but it's like a clue into their personality. They're telling you something about their personality. If someone who barely knows you is not inquiring about you, and they think the first thing they should just go on and on about is their teeth, that's a bit unusual. I mean, that's like a bit odd. I mean, it's nice. It's good to have nice teeth and everything. That's great. I mean, that's wonderful. But I would think when you're trying to get to know someone, you would be inquiring about them and wanting to know everything about them. And the other person should be reciprocating that back to you and asking you a whole bunch of questions and wanting to get to know you. So I found it odd to be just going on and on and on about your teeth. And I'm just like, I don't care about your teeth. I mean, it's wonderful. I would like you to have nice teeth, and that's great. But when you're first meeting someone and you haven't even met them in person, to be going on and on about your teeth is a bit odd. You know what I'm saying? So it gives you an indication that they're really into themselves, that their teeth are extremely important to them. I mean, I would be looking for substance over, it's good to have a nice outward appearance, but for me, your character is much more important than your appearance. If you have both, obviously that's a plus, but I'm looking to see what you're all about, how you're going to treat me, what your character is about, and if it seems like your teeth are the most important thing, that's like extremely important to you, that's telling you something right off the bat. Okay, and now the other one, narc number 2 that I met, we were having a conversation and I mentioned something about my period, and he changed the conversation back to himself because he couldn't compete with that because he doesn't have a period. And so he was like, oh no, what am I going to do? That's not about me. I can't compete. I don't have a period. And so he like made a joke about like, oh, when I get my period, blah, 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 and like changed it back to him and like turned the conversation back to him. I mean, these people are just so sneaky in what they do. And so I understand these things seem like extremely subtle and you would write that off as no big deal, but these things actually mean something. You have to pick up on these things. And I'm saying, like, if it happens once, it might just be like no big deal, but when you start noticing the pattern of it happening over and over and over again, something's up, okay? Something's up. And then, narc number 2, he was like, oh, I've been doing these 2-hour gym sessions every day. And he goes, oh, I love sculpting my body to perfection. And it's just like hilarious because like he's not like he's not built or cut up, like he doesn't have a six-pack. He just has like, and I'm not trying to be like judgmental or anything, but I mean the guy is not like, he's has more like a one pack, like he's soft and he's not like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just trying to give you an example of how deluded they are. Like, he's like, oh, I just love sculpting my body to perfection, and I've been doing these 2-hour gym sessions. Like, I mean, they're just so out of touch with reality. It's amazing. I mean, it's like bordering on amazing. So I'm just pointing these things out because these red flags are there from day one, and you have to catch on to them because you can get out of there faster and save yourself from a whole, from the 10th dimensions of hell of abuse that is going to come if you continue to stay with them. So I want to just teach about these different red flags. And like I said, people write them off. I wrote it off, the teeth thing. I'm like, oh, he's just quirky. That's fine. He might be like a little eccentric. But no, this actually meant something. This meant something. So just listen very carefully and observe. If you're getting to know someone new, watch them very closely and analyze everything they do. And you really gotta watch what they're doing, because they show themselves even in the beginning stages. That the clues and the red flags are there. So if you overlook one red flag, and then you overlook another red flag, and then you overlook another red flag, and you just continue going, that's on you. That's on you, okay?